Although Vita Health Group provided this exercise class provisional with your health and safety in mind, each individual participant has their own limitations and should consult their general practitioner or an appropriate medical professional prior to undertaking the class. Should you be prone to injury, are currently pregnant, or be managing any functional limiting medical conditions, please seek medical confirmation prior to participating. At all times, ensure you follow all instructions provided by Vita Health Groups throughout the entirety of the recording. Should you experience any symptoms of dizziness, nausea, or increased pain at any point during your participation, please stop and seek the appropriate advice from your general practitioner or the 111 service.
Hello and welcome to today's class. My name's Danny and I will be your instructor for today. This class is our advanced lower back class, so it's aimed at people who are suffering with lower back pain but also have a good amount of experience of exercise to an advanced level. We're going to be targeting all of the major muscle groups in and around the lower back, and the aims of this session are to improve strength, coordination, and some flexibility and mobility work in there as well. All of the equipment that you need will be shown on the screen. So all you need to do is grab a drink and let's get started with our warm-up. Let's get started with our warm-up then. So with this warm-up, we're aiming to increase our heart rate, activate the muscles, increase mobility, all ready for our exercise class that's coming up. So we're going to start off nice and simple with just some marching on the spot. We're going to be doing this for 1 minute. Do it at your own pace, whether you want to go nice and slow or quite fast, completely up to you. Fab, let's get going for 1 minute then. Make sure we're swinging those arms, lifting the feet nice and high whilst we're marching. Remember, we're working to increase that heart rate, so just taking it at your own pace. It's great, keep swinging those arms, lifting those knees nice and high, and we are nearly halfway there. Great. Again, taking it at your own pace, just as we start the warm-up. Okay, 10 more seconds. Great, and bring that down to a stop. Brilliant. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're just going to do some jogging on the spot this time. We're only going to go for 30 seconds this time. Again, doing it at your own pace. Just make sure that you've got a nice, safe environment around you. Okay, when we're ready, off we go. Again, make sure we're moving those arms and lifting those feet nice and high off the floor. That's it, halfway there. Good, 5 seconds left. And bring it down to a stop. Brilliant. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, we're going to go to do some hip circles. So for this one, I want your feet sort of shoulder width apart on the floor and the hands just resting on your hips. We're going to start off with very small circles. So we're going to sort of push the hips to one side, bring them round to the front and round to the back. Again, just do them at your own pace, and also with the circle, just make it as small or as big as you can, depending on how you're feeling. We're going to go for 30 seconds. When we're ready, off we go. That's it. So just make sure we're concentrating on really pushing those hips all the way around the movement. That's good. Because we're coming up to halfway, we're going to switch and go in the opposite direction. Again, like I said, if you need to do small circles with how you're feeling at the moment, that's absolutely fine. Or nice and big circles, doesn't matter. Great, and come to a stop. Okay, for the next exercise, we're going to go into doing some leg swings. For this one, I'm going to do it just freestanding, but if you need to, you can hold onto a wall, hold onto the back of a chair, whichever works best for you. We're going to start off with our right leg. So again, like I said, holding onto something for stability if needs be. We're going to go for 30 seconds. We're just going to lift the leg out in front of us and then slowly lift behind. Okay, off we go. So just swinging that leg at your own pace. Like I said, if you need to hold on to something, then that's absolutely fine. Good. That's great. Keeping the knee nice and straight and just swinging back and forwards. That's it. We've got 5 seconds left on this leg and then we'll switch over. Great. Okay. So if you need to swing the chair around to the other side or reposition yourself so that you can hold onto the wall the opposite way, that's fine. And then we'll go for 30 seconds again. So on the left leg this time, swinging back and forth. That's great. Again, just doing it at your own pace, lifting the leg in a range of movement that's comfortable for you. Good. Okay, 10 seconds left on this leg. Great, and come to a stop, just back into our resting position. So the next activity that we're going to do is going to be with our arms. We're going to go for some arm circles. So what we'll do, we'll start off with our right arm because we started with our right leg. We'll pop our hand out to the side. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with some circles, just going backwards like this. If you need to do the circles nice and small, that's absolutely fine. Obviously, if you can, then we're going to do nice big circles with the arm. Again, just do whatever feels comfortable for you at the moment. And again, we're going to go for 30 seconds. That's it. Like I said, make sure we're doing this one in a comfortable range of movement. It can be as small or as big as you need at the moment. That's great, we've done 15 seconds on this arm. That's great, last 5 seconds. Brilliant, okay. And this time we're going to do the exact same on the left arm. So again, arm out to the side, you can do small circles if you need to, obviously big ones if you can as well. Fab, off we go, 30 seconds on this one. That's great. Again, just going at the speed that sort of works for you at the moment. If you need to move nice and slowly through this movement, that's fine. Obviously, if you can, then obviously we'll go a bit quicker. That's great, and just 5 more seconds. Perfect, okay. Last exercise of our warm-up, we're going to do some movements with our spine. So we're going to work in 4 different directions. We're going to go for a forward movement, a backwards movement, and then side to side as well. So what I'll do first is I'll show you what we're going to do, and then I'll explain how many we're going to do after that. So we're going to have the feet shoulder width apart again. For the forwards movement, I'd like you to have your hands resting on the front of your legs. And then what I want you to do nice and slowly is just come down as far as you can until you start to feel that bit of a stretch in the lower back, and then return up to your neutral position. Then we'll go for the opposite. So this time I'll turn to the side to show you, you're gonna lean backwards. Again, just a gentle movement, and back up to the neutral position. Then hands down by our sides. It doesn't matter which side you do first, but you're gonna bend over to the side, back up, and over to the other side. We're going to do 5 in each direction. Again, just going as far as you can. Okay, we'll do them all together. So if we start at the front, we're going to come down, just go as far as you can, and then back up to that neutral position. Then we're going to lean back, again to the neutral position, hands down by our sides, drop one hand down the side of the leg, back up, and then over to the side. So that's 1 repetition. So now we'll go for our second. So again, we're going to come back down the front, nice and slowly and controlled. And then this time lean backwards. That's great. And then down to one side, back up and over into the other direction. Brilliant. On to number 3. So back to the front, coming down as far as you can, and back up, and then leaning back and back into that neutral position. Hands down by our sides, and we'll go over to one side and back up, then over to the other side and back up. And now for number 4, back to the front, leaning forwards and back up. Hands on our hips, and we'll lean backwards, back to our neutral position and down to one side and back over to the other direction. Brilliant. Last one now, hands back on the front. We're going to lean down as far as we can, back up to the middle, hands on our hips and lean back to the middle. And then this time we'll drop down one side, back up, and then down to the other side. Okay, that completes our warm up. So if you want to go and grab a bottle of water ready for our exercise class, and we'll get started. Okay, this exercise that we're doing is called the bodyweight squat. We're going to do 10 repetitions, have a bit of a rest, and then we'll go again for a second set. So just make sure that you've got some room around you. We're going to be feet sort of shoulder width apart for this exercise. The most important thing when we're coming down into our squat is to make sure that we're keeping the core engaged and that we're bringing the knees down in line with the big toes. Okay, so have the feet sort of slightly turned out, and when we're squatting down, we want the knees to fall in line with the big toes. We don't want any knees falling in or going sort of out towards the outside of the foot. Arms can be sort of out in front of you in this relaxed position, or if you feel more comfortable, then you can cross the hands over onto your shoulders. So let's get started. We're going to do 10, like I said, for the first set. In terms of the depth that we're going to, just go to a level that sort of feels comfortable for you at the moment, but we're wanting to keep our back nice and straight and coming down into our squat position, really focusing on keeping the knees in line with the toes and keeping that core engaged. Okay, let's get started then. So we're going for 10 repetitions. So arms in your comfortable position and down into that squat, push back up, keeping that back nice and straight throughout and keeping those knees in line with the toes. That's it. Really try and push back up through the legs when we're coming up in this movement. That's it. 4 more. Good. Just go into the depth, like I said, that feels comfortable for you at the moment. That's great. Okay, so we're going to take a quick 20-second break before we get started with our second set. So if you need a drink, then grab one, and we'll be back to do the second set in 20 seconds. Okay, back for our second set then. So we're going to go for 10 again. So feet shoulder width apart, really focusing on keeping those knees in line with the toes. So arms in a comfortable position and squat down and back up. That's it, really engaging the core throughout and focusing on your nice, slow and steady breathing. So if you find it easier with this one, you can do it in front of a mirror or something like that so that you're checking your posture. Let's go for 3 more. That's great. Okay, we're going to take another 20-second break then before we move on to our next exercise. So make sure to grab yourself a drink and then we'll come back for the next one. Okay, so this exercise that we're doing now is going to be a bird dog and a plank combined. So we're going to be down on the floor for this one. Make sure that you're taking your time to get down. If you need to pause the video whilst you do so, then make sure that you do that. Okay, so we're going to be in our plank position with our forearms on the floor. And then from there, taking your time, you're just going to lift one leg and lift the opposite arm. And come back down. Lift the other leg and lift the opposite arm. Okay, this one will use a lot of core strength and a lot of balance as well. So take it at your own speed. If you need to reset in between each movement, then make sure you do so. We're going to do 3 sets in total. In each set, we're going to do 6 repetitions on each side, okay? So, when you're ready, into your plank position. And off we go, nice and slowly, for 6 repetitions. Nice and steady breathing. One more. And relax. Okay. That's our first set complete then. We're going to take 20 seconds rest and then we'll come back for our second set. Okay, so when you're ready, we're going to get back into our second set of this exercise. So we're going to come down into our plank position on the mat. And then we're going to lift slowly, one leg on the opposite arm, and come back in. Making sure we're breathing nice and slowly. If you lose your balance, just make sure to reset yourself. And relax. Okay. That is the end of our second set then. We're going to take 20 seconds and then we'll come back for our final set. Okay, on to our final set of this exercise. With this one, we're going to go until failure. So if you feel like you can't get to 6 and you need to stop earlier, that's fine, as long as that feels like the maximum amount of repetitions for you. If we get to 6 and you feel like you can continue for further, then just pause the video, carry on, and then catch up with us later on. Okay, so for the final one, into our plank position. Remember, we're going until failure this time, so it doesn't matter how many you do for this one. And off we go. Nice steady breathing. And once you're done, relax down and take your own time just to get back up into our standing position. Okay, that's that exercise done. So we're going to take 20 seconds break, grab yourself a quick drink if you need one, and then we'll come back for the next one. Okay, so this exercise is the side plank with the hip abduction. We're going to be in a side laying position for this exercise, down on the mat. So take your time to get down there. We're going to be doing 3 sets. We're going to do something slightly different on this one, where we do 8 repetitions on each side for the first 2 sets. And for the final set, we're going to do something that's called doing the exercise until failure. So what that means is that on the last set, you will do as many of the exercise as you can until it feels like your muscles can't do any more. So that will be different for each person, and it will probably be different for you each time you do the exercise class. So when we get to the 3rd one, I'll make sure to explain that again. But to start off with, we're just going to do 8 on each side. So we need to go into a side plank position. I'll show you one first. Elbow on the floor, directly below the shoulder, feet out to the side. This time the feet need to be on top of each other. Then what we're going to do, once we've got all of the body in line, we're going to lift up into a side plank position. And from here, you're going to lift the top leg up and down. That's 1 repetition, and we're going to do 8. And then we'll move on to the other side, do 8, and then we'll have a quick rest before we go on to the 2nd set, okay? So when you're ready, lift up into your side plank, and off we go, lift and down. Up and down, keeping the core engaged the whole time. Squeezing that muscle to lift the leg. 3 more. Good, and relax from there. Okay, we're going to switch to the other side. Okay, so we need the elbow on the floor. Make sure that the feet are in line with the knees and hips and the shoulder, so that the whole body is in line. And then when you're ready, we'll push up into our side plank and we lift. 8 repetitions. Keeping that core engaged. And relax from there. Okay, that's the end of the first set. So we're going to take 20 seconds, have a quick break, and then we'll come back for the 2nd set. Okay, and let's get started with our 2nd set then. So we're going to go back to the side that we were originally on, and we're going to come down to the mat on our elbow. Make sure that all our joints are in line, so we've got ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, all in one nice straight line. And from here we're going to push up into our side plank position, and off we go for 8 more. So lift and down, keeping that core engaged, keeping the body in line. Nice steady breathing. Good, and relax from there. Okay, and then we'll swap sides. So we'll go over to the other side. You might find that on these you have a stronger side than the other, and that's absolutely fine. We're just trying to work all the muscles up to make them nice and strong. Okay, so from here, all the joints in line again, elbow underneath the shoulder, lift up into that side plank, and off we go for 8. Good, and return back down. Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to take a 20-second break again, and then we're going to come back for our 3rd and final set of this exercise. Okay, so let's get started with our 3rd and final set of this exercise. So as I mentioned before, this set is going to be until failure. So all that means is when we get started, just do as many of these movements as you can. If you can only feel like you can do 2, that's absolutely fine. If you feel like you can do more than 8 and go until 12 or whatever, that's absolutely fine as well. We'll just keep going. If you're doing more than I am, what I would suggest is pausing the video until you get to sort of the failure point, and then start the video again so that we can be at the same time. Okay, so we're going to go back to the original side we started on. Bring the elbow down to the mat. Make sure that we're all in line. And then we're going to push up into our plank position, and we're going to lift and down just until you feel like you can't do any more. So we're not counting on this one really. Just going until you feel like you can't do any more. And then coming down when you're ready. Obviously, if you want to keep going, then keep going. And just pause the video until you're done. Then we'll switch sides, and we're going to go until failure on the opposite side as well. Okay? So up into your side plank, and go again. Just until you feel like you can't go anymore, when your muscles feel too tired. Good. Okay, well done on that one. Just slowly return to your standing position. And we're going to take a 20-second break. Go and grab yourself a drink if you need one, and then we'll be right back for the next exercise. Okay, our next stretch is going to be called the kneeling hip flexor stretch. So for this one, we're going to be down on the floor. So just take your time getting down to the floor. On this stretch, we're stretching the hip flexors, as it says in the name. So these are the muscles down the front of the hips. We're going to start off by stretching our right hip flexor. So what we'll do from here is just lift up the left leg so that we're in a sort of kneeling position. And then from here, what you're going to do, hands on your hips, keeping the hips nice and square, you're just going to very gently lean forwards until you start to feel a stretch down the front of the hip here, okay? If you need to, you can put a cushion underneath the bottom knee, because sometimes obviously it can be a bit uncomfortable on the floor. Okay, we're going to hold for 30 seconds. Off we go. That's it. You should feel like nice gentle stretch down the front here. Very good. Just going as far as you can. If you feel like you can go further, that's great. If you feel like you can not go as far, also fine. Just do as much as you can. Okay, 5 more seconds. That's great. And stop there. Brilliant. Okay, we're going to switch over to the other leg now. So this time we're going to have the right leg up in front of us, left knee down on the floor. Like I said, if you do need a cushion or anything like that underneath the knee, then that's absolutely fine. Hands on our hips again, and we're going to just lean forwards into that lunge and hold again. Off we go. That's great. Again, should just feel the gentle stretch down the front of the hip. If it's too painful, then try coming up slightly. Or if you're not feeling that stretch, try and go a bit deeper into that lunge position. You should just feel that down the front of the hip. That's great. And just 5 more seconds. Great, okay, and come back up to that neutral position. Right, we're going to do the same thing again now. We're going to do 1 more for our right leg and 1 more for our left leg. So this time, if we leave the right knee on the floor and lift the left leg up in front of us, exactly the same thing again, hands on our hips, and we're just going to lean forwards into that lunge position. Okay, off you go. Holding it for 30 seconds again with this one. And again, should just be that gentle stretch down the front of the hip. And like we said with our last stretch, we want to make sure that we're breathing nice and slowly throughout this movement. Not holding our breath, just relaxing into the position as much as you can. Okay, and stop there. Okay, brilliant. Last one now then. We'll just switch around to the other side. We're going to put our right leg up in front this time as we're stretching our left hip flexors. So hands on our hips again and lean forwards. And off we go. That's great. If you find that it's a little bit difficult on the leg in front, just try taking the foot out in front slightly more and then leaning into it again. Sometimes if the foot is too close to the body, it just puts a little extra pressure on the knee. That's great. Okay, and rest from there. Brilliant. Okay, we're going to take another 20 seconds break now. So if you need a glass of water or anything like that, then make sure you pick one up and then we'll come back for our next exercise. Okay, so this exercise is going to be the glute bridge with the straight leg raise. So for this one, we're going to be down on the mat. So take your time getting down. And if you need to, pause the video and start again when you're ready. Okay, once we're on the floor, we're going to have the feet flat on the floor, knees at sort of a 45-degree angle. And then we're going to have the hands flat on the floor, palms facing down, shoulders on the floor, head on the floor. And then from here, what we're going to do, we're going to go one leg at a time. We'll have one leg bent up like this, the other leg straight out in front, just off the floor. Then with the grounded leg, we're going to push up. As we're pushing up, we're lifting the opposite leg, toes up towards the ceiling, and then coming back down as we lower. Okay, so our legs are doing different things on this one. So if you want to have a practice, then make sure you do. We're going to do 8 on each leg, have a rest, and then we'll come back and do the same again. Okay, so I'm going to start with my right leg bent, left leg out in front. When we're ready, we're going to push up, lifting the other leg up, and back down, nice and slowly. 7 more, up, and back down. Okay, up. Squeeze the glutes at the top, and back down. That's great, keeping breathing nice and steady throughout. Okay, 3 more. That's great, and then lower back down. And this time we're going to switch legs, okay? So this time, the left leg for me is going to be up and the right leg is going to be down. Exactly the same movement. We're going to push up and lift, lower, both back down, lift up and back down. Just lifting as high as you can and just lifting the straight leg as high as you can. Like I said, we're trying to point the foot up towards the ceiling, but don't worry if you can't get all the way there. Just go as far as you can. Okay, 3 more. Nice and controlled. And last one. That's great. Okay. Take your time to sit back up. We're going to take a 20-second rest. Grab a drink if you need one, and then we'll come back for the second set. Okay, let's get into our second set. So we're going to come back in to our starting position. Feet flat on the floor, knees at that 45-degree angle, hands down on the mat. One leg out in front. As we lift up, we lift the leg and back down, and we'll do 7 more. Squeeze in the core and the glutes on this one. Okay, that's 4, that's halfway. Nice and controlled movements, 2 more. That's great. Okay, we're going to swap legs now. So other leg up, the other leg out and straight, arms down by our sides, head and shoulders on the floor, and off we go. Just lifting that leg as high as you can. Doesn't need to be all the way up. If you can't get there, that's fine. Okay, a few more. And when we come up to 8, just going to come back into a relaxed position, and in your own time, we're going to stand up. And that's the end of this exercise. We're going to have 20 seconds break, grab yourself a quick drink, and then we'll come back for the next one. Okay, so this exercise that we're doing next is called the reverse plank. We're going to be down on the floor again, so take your time getting down to the floor. If you need to pause the video, then make sure you do so. We're going to sit with the feet out in front, like so, with the knees extended. Then we're going to lean back and we're going to pop our weight onto our elbows with our forearms down on the floor. Like so. From here, we're going to lift the hips off the floor into a reverse plank. We're going to hold this position for 20 seconds and we're going to do it 4 times through. If you find that 20 seconds is too much for you, just come down whenever feels right. But if not, we're going to hold for 20 seconds, okay? So into position and off we go. Squeeze in the core, nice and tight. Try not to let the hips drop back down. Breathe in nice and slowly through the 20 seconds. And then relax back down. Okay. We're only going to take a little rest in between these ones, but if you feel like you need longer, make sure to pause the video, have a rest, and then come back when you feel ready. Okay. But once we've had about 10 seconds, we're going to go again. Okay. So make sure that you're positioned well on your mat. Come down into our starting position with the elbows underneath the shoulders, and then when you're ready, push up and off we go. Breathe in nice and slow. Try and look up at the ceiling if you can, or down at your toes, doesn't matter which. Concentrating on your breathing, keeping that core engaged, and relax. Okay, that's great. And like we said before, if you need a bit of a longer break in between, make sure to pause the video and then come back when you are ready. If not, we'll get ourselves ready for the next repetition. Okay, so make sure that we've got our feet together, knees extended, and then we're going to relax down onto the floor, onto our elbows, and when we're ready, big push up and off we go. Really concentrate on that breathing and that core engagement. and relax. Okay, we've just got one more left to do. Make sure when we're in this position, although we're not far off the floor, we need to keep all of those muscles squeezed nice and tight to make sure that we don't drop those hips down. So when we're ready, we'll go for the 4th repetition. Okay, so legs out in front as before, lean back onto the mat. And when we're ready, lift up and off we go. Nice slow breathing, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And relax. Brilliant, okay. In your own time then, lift yourself back up into a standing position. That is the end of that exercise. We're going to have a 20-second break now. Make sure to grab yourself a drink and then we'll come back for the next one. Okay, so this exercise is the side stretch. We're going to be sat on the floor for this stretch. So take your time getting down to the floor. With this stretch, our feet are going to be out to the side. So straight legs out to the side. Just go as far as you can. If you can only get them slightly apart, absolutely fine. If you can get them that little bit further, that's also fine. From here, what we're going to do, we're going to take both hands, reach over to one knee, and from here, we're going to try and pull the torso down towards the leg. So you should feel some stretch on the back of the leg and also some stretch on the opposite side of the back to the direction that we're leaning in. We're going to do 20-second holds and we're going to do 3 on each side, okay? Choose which side you want to do first, it doesn't matter. Hold on to the leg and pull the body down towards the leg. If you find that you're not feeling the stretch in the lower back, just try and take the front shoulder and try and rotate upwards slightly, okay? Off we go for 20 seconds. Breathe in nice and slow now in our stretches. Okay, keep going, 5 more seconds on this one. Great, okay. And then this time we're going to go over to the opposite side. So hold on just around the knee on this leg, pull the body towards the leg. And then like we said before, if you're not feeling the stretch, just try and rotate the top shoulder up slightly and you should start to feel that stretch in the muscle down the back. Okay, off we go for 20 seconds. Nice and steady breathing. Really focusing on where you feel that stretch. That's great. Okay, and then back up. Brilliant. Okay, so we've got 2 more left on each side. So let's flip over to the other side, grab the knee or grab the leg around the knee and then pull the body in towards the leg and rotate if you need to. Off we go. Making sure with this stretch and with any stretch that we do that we're just feeling that gentle stretching, okay? We're not getting pain. If we are getting pain, it might mean that we're just stretching slightly too far, so we just would come out of the stretch slightly and work our way up. That's great, and then relax there for me. And we'll go back over to the other side. Okay, so holding onto the knee, pulling the body in, and then rotating if needed. Off we go for 20. Don't worry too much about how far you can get. Over time, the more you do stretches, the easier they will get as the muscles become looser. Just go as far as you can for now, with it being in that pain-free range. That's great. Okay, 1 more left on either side then. So back over to the other side. Hands on the knee, pull the body in If needed, rotate that shoulder up and off we go for 20 more seconds. Nice steady breathing, in through the nose, out through the mouth. That's great, and then back up. And the last one now, over to the other side, hold on to the knee, bring the body in and rotate if needed. Off we go. That's great, nice steady breathing. 5 more seconds. And relax for me. Okay, in your own time, make your way back up to a standing position. Okay, that is the final exercise of today's class before we move on to our cool down. So we're gonna have 20 seconds break. Grab yourself a quick drink and then we'll see you back here for the cool down. Okay, let's get started with our cool down. So with the cool down, we're going to be focusing on bringing that heart rate back down, bringing our breathing rates back down, and sort of just relaxing the muscles after the class that you've done. So we're going to start off nice and easy with 30 seconds of deep breathing. So for the breathing, I'd really focus on breathing in through the nose and then breathing back out through the mouth. We're wanting those nice deep breaths. So when we are breathing in, try and think about sort of filling the rib cage, and then obviously releasing on the breath out. Okay, we're gonna go for 30 seconds all together. Off we go. So like I said, breathing in through the nose and back out through the mouth. And make sure, like we said, we're really trying to fill that rib cage with air when we're breathing in and then breathing out nice and slowly. You might find that at the moment, because you've just finished the exercises, that it's a bit difficult to slow that breathing rate down, but just go at your own pace. Okay, fab. What we're going to go on to next, again, nice and easy, we're going to go on to some walking on the spots. So in the warm-up before, we were obviously trying to increase our heart rate with the marching and the jogging. This time we're trying to bring it back down. So we're going to go nice and slowly and just walk on the spot. Okay, for 30 seconds, off we go. That's great. So still swinging those arms like we were before, but obviously just in a bit more of a relaxed position on this one and going a little bit slower. That's great. That's halfway there. Five more seconds. Great, okay, this time we're gonna move on to doing some hip circles. So we did these in our warm-up before, but again, a bit like the walking, we're gonna bring the pace down on this one. So we're gonna have the feet shoulder width apart, hands on the hips, and again, make the circles as small or as big as you can. And we're just gonna go big circles with the hips, nice and slowly. We're gonna do 30 seconds all together, off we go. So bringing the pace down a little bit on this one, just moving through the full movement, nice and slowly. We can still concentrate on our breathing in these cool down exercises. So really trying to slow that breathing down. 10 more seconds. Great, okay. For the next movement, we're going to be going down to the floor. So take your time getting down. If you need to hold on to something, then do that. Nice and carefully onto the floor. And we're going to have the feet out in front, legs nice and straight. I want you to try and keep the knees as straight as possible with this one. And then we're going to rest the hands on front of the thighs. From here, we're just going to slide down the legs just as far as you can. And we want to grip on to our legs as close as we can to our ankles, and we're going to hold that stretch for 30 seconds. Okay, so moving down just as far as you can, and then let's hold for 30 seconds. Off we go. Still focusing on that breathing when we're doing this movement. So breathing nice and slowly in and out, and we should feel that nice gentle stretch down the back of the legs. Okay, we're halfway there. Ten seconds left. And 5 seconds. Okay, and sit back up into that relaxed position. We're going to get ourselves back up into a standing position, but again, take your time. If you need to hold on to something to help you get up, then that's absolutely fine. Okie doke. Once we're up then, for the next movement, we're going to be doing some stretches, mobility work for the middle back. So we're going to have the feet shoulder width apart again. The hands this time are going to come up behind the head. And we're going to be doing 4 different movements. So we're going to be coming down into a forward position, back up and into a slightly extended position. Then we're also going to do some flexion to the side, back up into a middle position and over to the side. Okay, we might add in a little bit of rotation too, just to stretch a few extra muscles. We're going to go for 30 seconds. I want you to go at your own pace, and we're just going to move through all those different movements, just making sure that we're stretching all the right muscles. Okay, off we go all together. So coming forwards, back up into that slightly extended position, back down, over to the sides, and then rotating. That's great. And again, we're going to move slightly forwards and up and slightly back. Then we're going to lean to the sides. And again, we might go slightly over 30 seconds, but we want to get all those movements back in. And the final rotation. Okay, and then bring the arms back down into our neutral position. We're going to finish off by doing 30 seconds of our deep breathing again. So we're going to go in through the nose, out through the mouth, make sure we're trying to fill that rib cage there, and then release. Okay, off we go. So hopefully this breathing will be sort of easier now. Hopefully you'll be breathing that a little bit slower. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Again, really trying to fill that rib cage with air. And down. Brilliant. Okay, well done everyone. So thank you for attending our exercise class today. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we hope to see you very soon on our next session. Thank you.